It is the last week of the mid-season Fantasy League of Ordinary Gentlemen. And then, of course, next week we start the playoff push. 4 weeks to find out who is going to be the 6 owners to compete for the championship here in 2024. We do know at this point in time only one of us has qualified mathematically. No matter what will happen this year, he will be in the playoffs. That is, of course, Brennan Scala's 0 to hero run. And I shouldn't say 0. I mean, he's not Forever and Clean. He's not Evan. He just was really, really bad. He was like second to worst. But it's whatever. It makes for a good story. So 0 to hero. And then, of course, we have no one. No one is eliminated. Everything you needed to have happen to stay alive, we talked about it, happened. So everyone is in contention still to get a top 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 seed. Oh, I'm not going to lie. I'm in a mixed position right now. Maybe some of you feel that way. I'm super happy. Things went way better than I thought they could the other night. But in fantasy, I've lost Dak Prescott, who was there for backup, but at least he didn't share a bye week with my quarterback. And, I'm going to lose Chris Olave for probably a week minimum. And so I'm, fantasy-wise, I'm very upset. But I get ahead of myself. Take a moment, like and subscribe. Get us out there. We appreciate you being here with us. It's a great time to be coming in. We've got lots of action. Week 10 is going to be crazy. So you already know. Take a moment. Find something to eat. Find something to drink. Push away all the distractions. Turn up the volume on your listening device and let the sultry sounds of your commissioner fill the airways. It's time to break down week number 10, and the games start tomorrow, so let's get down to it. And my first game for this week, you're right. What a big win. It's going to be, I get ahead of myself. It is he who shall not be named, that which is forever unclean, Mr. Stinky Forever Unclean, who has a huge win against yours truly last week. Because look at me, who was ranked 4 last week. Here we go, Jonathan Andrews, who has just taken over the number 2 spot in the league. So what a huge win, Evan, last week to take on an opponent who it looks like there's a 13-point difference. It is already heavily scaled against you, and rightly so. I mean, Jonathan is scoring, one of those 3 owners who just can't seem to stop scoring 130 points. So, and it's not good, on your projection this week, at very low. I get it, dealing with some things, but bye weeks, injuries, what so and so forth. Those are the things. Not, in fantasy, what else could there be? Patrick Mahomes, going to run him again. Really? Okay, all right. Hey, you know what? Why? You just beat me, and he scored 24 points. So why not? Najee Harris and Ray Davis, running backs 1 and 2, and you wouldn't have him right now had I not had to drop, Chris Boswell, because Chris Olave comes back. The frustration, it continues. I digress. We're talking about your team, not my team. Obviously dealing with the bye week there, so having to find something, obviously hoping that Davis falls into the end zone. Justin Jefferson and Sterling Shepard, who is banged up, so chances that he might not play, obviously monitoring that. But Justin Jefferson in this game, yeah, I think this is a great matchup. 20 points incoming. Cole Kmet and Jameson Williams, my God, your tight end and your flex play here. And, again, both of these guys are boom or bust players. Cole Kmet's really come down to earth since the beginning of the season. The Jets defense, who really helped you last week, as well as Justin Tucker, need everyone to come to fruition this week against a very tough opponent. And, it's stacked on the other side of this lineup here. Let's take a look, Jonathan, breaking down this game. As Matt Stafford had a respectable game and does run into Miami, but that defense is not what we thought they were going to be this year. Maybe things do change a little bit with Tua, but I mean we see that it's really just a bunch of offensive production. And yep, there's a cat. So welcome, Akina, to the podcast. Say hello. Does she want to talk? Yes. Okay. So yes, hello to you as well. All right. Shut up now. No. Zip it. No. Breece Hall and Kareem Hunt, running backs 1 and 2. I don't even know if you guys can hear this. She's just yelling. It is quite annoying. Breece Hall and Kareem Hunt, running backs 1 and 2. Taper expectation with Kareem Hunt there with that Denver defense, but I like Breece Hall against Arizona. Devonta Adams and D-Hop, who came in big time last week. That's what you want to see, is the consistency. Patrick Surtain with D-Hop, taper expectation there. I mean, I even show, it kind of shows there reflected in his, projection here. Juwan Johnson, just hoping to find whatever there in New Orleans, now that Chris Olave, as we said, is gone for, I'm sure, minimum of a week. I've read some early reports that he's seeking a strategist, and I don't want to even feed into any rumors before Thursday night, and please don't start this week off bad, okay? Noah Brown, who found a magical touchdown. Can he do it again against Pittsburgh? Lots of tough defenses, man. I mean, obviously a lot in the Denver-Kansas City game. What Miami team shows up, and then Pittsburgh, who's really, really good. The Giants, man, this could be fun with Carolina. And then Dicker, the kicker, it's 104. So even for you, Jonathan, a lower projection than maybe you were expecting. I'm sure you're used to the 120s, by God, at this point in time. But it is a heavy bye week. Lots of teams that have players out this week. So there's going to be lots of filled holes. That's the case. It doesn't really, I think, change anything. Evan, you scored really, really well last week. I scored really piss poor. And I think that this may not be a 130, 40-point game, Jonathan. However, I do think that you walk away with the W in this game. But when we look at power rankings, Evan, I just want you to point out, we're going to show some things that may give you a little hope here in Week 10. Game 2 will feature the lone Wisconsinite taking on Chandler Taylor. And both these teams coming off of a loss from last week. Aaron Felch is a little more devastating. He scored 120 points. Chandler did score over 100, but just slightly. That game not in question, not close. Aaron, from your point of view, you got robbed. Everyone, I would definitely say you score over 110 points, you probably should win your game most weeks. I'm curious to see what we can do it real quick. We'll take the time. I actually think it's a little over 110 points. I think it's like 112. So the league average is 112. So if you can score, that's a statistical fact. If you can score 112 points, you should be able to beat your league opponent. And, that's just not happening. So actually, my 110 number's not so bad, guys. See, look, Joe Johnson's math that I've been using for the last several years is 2 points off of the league average. How about that? And that's now looking at a computerized, calculation of everything. 2 points off, boys and girls. Not so bad. Mine also figures in projections, so that can go up and down. Mine goes to the end of the year. So Hey, how about that? Not too shabby, Fantasy League of Ordinary Gentlemen. 2 points off of the actual statistics. So maybe when I talk about players and stuff, you should listen to me. All right. Anyway, I digress. Let's break down this game, which is 9 points. It is projected as a very high scoring game. Aaron, we already know you're going to score high. The question is this a 100-point Chandler game, or is this a, 130-point Chandler game? Let's take a moment. We'll break it down. We're going to start with you, Mr. Felch. Jalen Hurts, Philadelphia gets Dallas, and dude, they may not have CeeDee Lamb. They may not have Dak Prescott. So it's very possible that might be pretty happy to be a Rico Dowdle guy, but this should be a big time day. Dallas's defense is horrible. You saw Dak say it himself. We suck. And so yeah, Jalen Hurts, big day here. Love the projection. Probably going to go over it. Joe Mixon, Chuba Hubbard. I think this is a great pickup. I talked about it in a previous, I think it was two episodes, or at least 2 weeks ago. I don't really think that John Brooks is going to get much of the timeshare. I think it's like, why even risk another injury when you're the worst team? Why? And I don't think that Bryce Young is going anywhere. Because why not? You are cruising for that number one, even though there are something like 5 to 7 teams tied for the number one pick next year. But if it were to end, I think it would go to Carolina, just based off of points and stuff. However, they tie break it out anyway. Chuba Hubbard, I think, is a solid, you need 10 points, man. He's going to get you 10 points. Michael Pittman, a little banged up. You're monitoring that, but get Buffalo. Lad McConkey, who is catching fire, Tennessee. Love it. Hawkinson, play him. You've held on to him this long. He still got more points than Mark Andrews last week. So, hey, you're doing it. Kyron Williams, Miami. I'm expecting a big game here. Minnesota defense and Matt Gay, the kicker. Like I said, Aaron, we know you're going to score 100-something, 20-something points. The question is, what is Chandler going to do? Let's take a look. Brock Purdy, Tampa Bay. We just saw Patrick Mahomes score 24 points. I think that Debo should play. At least that's what I'm reading. And I don't think his injury is like quadriceps or something. And ribs or something. I don't, whatever. It's not anything that's not important enough to even remember. So there you go. That's what I know from that. Bijan Robinson, who has been fantastic, gets New Orleans. I think this is going to be another big game. DeAndre Swift, we said the matchups are really, really good right now. New England, a little bit stingy, but he's going to have a great day. Scary Terry and Jamar Chase it's scary. And here's the thing. You have Pittsburgh with Scary Terry. I still think you're going to get this 14 points. The volume's there. This is going to be a fun match. But then, you can, whether you're playing from behind or maybe they suck or whatever the reason, Baltimore is just the worst team when it comes to defending against the pass. So, Jack Little Raven, I think you're going to regret the 20-ish points that you're now giving to Chandler against Baltimore this week. Cade Otton in a big trade with Forrest Dozier, who gets a lot of wide receiver depth and at the same time kind of spreads that scoring out a little bit. I like this trade. You get Muth, who's a will score more points than Mark Andrews. I hate to say it, but you don't need to. You don't. And you watch Jack and Derrick disagree with me. You don't need two amazing tight ends when one of them's going to sit on the bench, and at the end of the day, they're still going to have a 5-point day. So I'm 100% okay finding value. You got a 3 basically for swap. You do Chandler, very, very important as you get towards the end of the playoffs. You pick up a much needed handcuff to your best player, and so you really have almost a 3-for-1 swap for Cade Otton. Even though you do lose a little bit of depth in running back, but you know what? You're at a point. You're 3-6, so Forrest, well done. And then let's look at it from Chandler's point of view. A loss last week. He's tied for a 6th seed, 4-5. You've got to do something. Buy into something you think is going to help your team. And I think the Cade Otton, in addition to this team, is super dangerous. We see that in the projections. So yes, I love the Cade Otton. David Montgomery, the flex. I mean, that's a killer flex. Unfortunately, Kyron Williams. I mean, you're going up against somebody who's flexing Kyron Williams. At the same time, let's understand that he keeps getting outscored. So this is maybe an ominous prediction of what could happen here. Chandler, Pittsburgh's defense, and Will Lutz. And 9 points, it's even in your favor, Chandler. And dare I say it, Aaron, brother, I hate to do it, but Chandler, with Cade Otton, with Jamar Chase, this was not a diddle trade. I felt, you can even look at the numbers, it helped Forrest 5%, and you gained not even a whole percent. So, yeah, it's a trade that is in both of your team's favors, but just where your team is at, acquiring Cade Otton makes you so dangerous. It's tired. It's fucking early Thursday morning. I'm exhausted. Give me a break, guys. So here we go. I have to make a prediction, and you're not going to like it, Aaron, but I am. I'm going to go with brother-in-law of the commissioner, Chandler Taylor, here in Week 10. Game 3 features 2 of our lower-tier owners. That doesn't mean you're out of it, guys. What did I say? 2 games, 3 games, and you're in it. So we have 2-7, Josh Johnson taking on 3-6, Forrest Dozier. And Josh, it's been 5 losses in a row. Forrest has picked up 2 wins in a row. Super big. This is, again, you already knew it when you get into this match. You are knocking on the danger zone. You have to find a win, or mathematically you will be eliminated from the playoffs. This game is within 1 point. Lots on the line, and it is narrow. It is narrow, but the favor of the ESPN prediction is right there for you, Josh. It is 108-107. So, Josh, let's see what's going to happen this week as Jared Goff takes on Houston, and that's a tough defense, man. I'll say this: I don't know if Houston is going to be able to score any points. We'll see if Nico Collins comes back this week. It's like I get Aaron has him in this league, but I have him in another league, and he's killing me. And it's more like the Houston staff is killing me. If he's healthy and he's passing the test and there's no setbacks, why isn't he playing? Why are we not even practicing? Why are we not coming off IR? When are we going to get this news? I'm sure you're hearing this, and I know because of the podcasts I watch. You can't be the only one watching other podcasts. I'm sure we watch all the same podcasts and listen to all the same things. I can guarantee you that's the case because I can watch the waiver wire, and I know people are listening. So it's very frustrating to know if Nico Collins. So, I mean, if Houston scores points, I actually think Detroit may play from a little bit behind here since it's at Houston. And then maybe it's a good day for Jared Goff. But, I mean, the Lions are killing it, man. So, it's funny that he has these low predictions just because that's what people expect. But then watch 3 touchdowns in this game. I've clearly talked too much about Jared Goff. I mean, my God. Okay, moving on. This is who we should be talking about. J.K. Dobbins has really come on, so that's fun. Tennessee, there we go. But Christian McCaffrey, the dude you have been waiting for, I still think there's going to be a little bit of a limit here on touches. Maybe, not saying it's going to be like 5 or 8 or, 10, but, maybe not 20. We'll see. So, this is just one of those. I look at this and Tampa Bay, I hope you get this 18 points, Josh. Like, oh man, I understand. I understand being frustrated by just unbelievable injuries. And hey, man, like if we go back, you can listen to me say, at least you had yours early and not now, not right before we're about to start the playoff push. Like I said, J.K. Dobbins, great play. Puka Nacua and Amari Cooper, you need a big day here. Forrest, I think this will be interesting. Tank Dell, I think, dude, I think Tank Dell has a good day here. Maybe it's just something in the bones. I'm feeling Tank Dell, especially if there's no Nico Collins. Again, I just, whatever it is, I mean, Dalton Schultz isn't happening. It's the Joe Mixon show, but you're gonna have to pass in this game. And then that's the thing. I'm not trying to get ahead, but I mean, if it's Houston playing from behind and CJ Stroud can have a halfway decent day, interesting counter over on this other side. But I mean, if Amari Cooper and Puka Nacua have good games here, and you're not facing any defenses that you're just absolutely shaking in your knees about. So, we'll see. And I realize I've said, about 10 times in the last 2 minutes. I get it. Okay. Just cut me a little slack. I'm tired and I'm a little repetitive at the moment. So, Tyler Conklin, can he find the end zone against Arizona? Possible. Deontay Johnson, who has been bad. And now let me tell you, I was wrong. I know I said it before, but Josh, you were 100% right. Deontay Johnson has been all Zay Flowers, and I'm bench. I have him on the bench, and he's going to ride the pine, barring injury, something which I hope doesn't happen. Knock on wood. But yeah, it's rough to have to flux Deontay Johnson right now. Buffalo's defense and Fairbairn, the kicker, it's 108. It's super close, and unfortunately, you're playing heart of the cards. Forrest Dozier, who acquires Bo Nix, the number 8 quarterback in fantasy, and it doesn't matter what the matchup is. He's going to get his 50 yards. He's going to get his rushing touch, 50 yards rushing. He's going to get his rushing touchdown. And, like I said, this offense is figuring itself out. And, yes, Kansas City has a very tough defense. But I think this is going to be – it's a division game. Denver's defense were excellent. And like I said, I think this could be a very interesting – I like the season. This may be a rough week. And I get it with Jameis Winston on a bye. You obviously are gonna have to start your trade here, but long term, this is there it is again. Man, if I say it one more time in this matchup, Lord have mercy. Oh, anyway, long term, I like this. This is a great pickup for you, and it's much better than bouncing between Daniel Jones, Joe Flacco, Aaron Jones, and Jameis Winston. Bo Nix is going to be a top 12 quarterback by the end of the season. Aaron Jones, Tank Bigsby, running backs 1 and 2. Aaron Jones is going to feast. Tank Bigsby needs to fall in the end zone. It's been rough for both him and Etienne. It's been rough for Jacksonville as a whole. Minnesota, taper expect. This is going to be a bad day. This is going to be a bad day for Jacksonville. Aaron will be more than happy to tell us all about it. You already kind of heard what I preluded with Tank Dell. No Nico Collins. It's going to be the Joe Mixon show. CJ Stroud, if he figures it out, Tank Dell, I think, has a great day. They're going to be playing from behind, especially with no Nico Collins. So, yeah, Tank Dell looking prime for a big day. I think he's going to surpass this projection. Again, Nico Collins, what's going to happen? You don't know. I don't know. Who knows? Jalen Waddle, and I'm not giving up on Jalen Waddle. I think this. I will tell you the same thing that I told Chandler when I traded for him. It's going to be rough until Tua comes back. Tua's come back. It's still been a little bit rough. That late touchdown does change things a little bit, but last week, not great. And then at the end of the day, I'm not giving up. It's been rough for Tyreek Hill too. It will get better. I am convinced of that. The Rams do not have a defense that I'm worried about. This could be a great day. And, you've seen your competition. Amari Cooper scored 1 reception for 3 yards. I mean, come on. If that happens again, Jalen Waddle still had a better day than that. Am I right? And still found the end zone. That's what you need. Touchdowns. So adding to your touchdown count towards the end of the season can only be a good thing, right? Travis Kelce, who scored over 20 points again. This is what you drafted Travis Kelce for. So well done, sir. And then Deebo Samuel, who, again, not really worried about the injury here, tracking like he's going to play. Atlanta, the defense, and Seibert, the kicker. Oh, man, dude, this is tough. This is really, really tough. If we're assuming Christian McCaffrey does play, I think that's happening at this point in time. I think he's going to be coming off waivers. He will be a play. And if that's the case, the combination with Dobbins, Tennessee, the running back core is better. Technically, the wide receiver core is better. The flex is not better. Your quarterback play is, I think, pretty close given the defenses. Oh, man, this could come down to look at the defenses are 5-5. This game is going to be a hard call. And the Bigsby scares me. Travis Kelce could feast in a game against Denver. I'm taking too long. Oh, man. You're on the up and up for us. There isn't a reason I shouldn't take you in this game, but Josh, you're primed up. I got to put my money. Yeah, man, I don't know. I haven't really I was going to say put my money where my mouth is. I've been very neutral in this matchup. This is a tight matchup. Watch Travis Kelce be the difference here. It's just on paper. The names, think about this. McCaffrey, J.K. Dobbins is having a year. Puka Nacua, Amari Cooper. I mean, that just sounds so much better. Deebo Samuel, Jalen Waddle. Man, okay. I'm picking. I have to go with what's been trending. Josh, I love you. You're my cousin. And I would love to go with blood over Heart of the Cards, but I can't do it. Give me the Grand Wizard to keep his win streak going, and playoff eliminations happen this week for you, Josh. Week 10, Game 4, huge game. Jack Little Raven, our second owner, facing elimination, taking on co-commissioner Aaron Grogg, who has lost 3 straight. The injuries hitting him as well. I'm not the only one. I know, being at my podcast and my tendency to rant, I make it seem like it's just me, but it's not. I have to remind myself there are others of us who are dealing with the injury bug as well. Mr. Grogg is one of them. Jack, huge win. Huge win. You stay alive, and wouldn't you know it, the 2 fantasy, what a fickle mistress. The 2 owners, maybe I should have picked Josh, because the 2 owners who are on the brink of elimination are both projected to win their games. Jack 100-96. I will point out, as you can see, Aaron has not slotted a defense, so will this projection go up maybe 5 to 8 points and just narrowly make this projection within a point, within 2 or 3 points? It's already within 4. Super close. Let's break it down. Jack, got to get a win here, my friend. Kirk Cousins, New Orleans, and I think it's another big Kirk Cousins day. This is where you struggle. The trade with like it or not, the trade with Chandler, you done been diddled, and with Travis Etienne struggling, okay, Raheem Mostert, it has to be a boom play for you. But hey, you know what? You're not the only one. It's just really struggling right now, not getting it's not last year, it's not that 20-point, a piece for A-Chain and Mostert year. Cortland Sutton, that gives you a lot of hope. Kansas City doesn't. Zay Flowers in Cincinnati, I think this is going to be a shoot 'em out game. But Cincinnati, it's just one of those divisional games. So, I don't think we're going to see this 29 points. This 15 feels good. This 15 points feels right. Evan Ingram in Minnesota, and maybe, again, the one thing I always feel like is, unless that defense really is good against tight ends in and of itself, the tough defense matchup for the team just means we're going to check down more and focus on the tight end. So the fact that Jacksonville plays Minnesota, I think it's another game that's going to go through everything. We'll see. I mean, hopefully Brian Thomas is not going to be out. We'll continue to play. Last week sucked, but if he's in the game and he's, back to closer to being 100%, then, maybe stifle this. But yeah, this feels right. The 11, 12 points feels right here for Evan Ingram. DJ, oh man, you guys starting surely you guys do not have to start DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. Like, I just would almost rather take a shot in the dark with someone who's on a volatile offense that could boom or bust, because that's all DJ Moore is, and Caleb Williams is not good. Guys, figure this out. It is the DeAndre Swift show, and, Caleb Williams running around, and I have no, the only person you want to see DeAndre Swift. I would be saying the same thing if Anthony Richardson was the quarterback still in Indianapolis, and I would be telling, Aaron Felch to bench him. I mean, you cannot start the wide receivers in even a deep league. I don't think you can start the wide receivers in Chicago. Maybe I'm wrong. Baltimore's defense and McPherson, the kicker, 100. It's not a great projection, Jack, but is it going to be enough? Joe Burrow, Baltimore, this could be a shootout, 20 points. But you know what? Kirk Cousins just scored 25 points, man. I think you're gonna be able to match Joe Burrow. Rashad White and Alvin Kamara in this one. Taper expectations for White, especially against San Francisco. But let's just say no Chris Olave, no Rashid Shaheed. There's no one to throw the ball to except Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara. So here comes another 20-point Taysom Hill day, and here comes another 25-point Alvin Kamara day. Lots of points here. Garrett Wilson, Quentin Johnson. Quentin Johnson really paid off last week. Great waiver pickup. And Arizona and Tennessee, going to be a good wide receiver day for Aaron. Sam Laporta, got to hit the end zone. Houston, we already talked about him. Nico Collins, oh, damn, son. You have brought him off of IR. I'm not doing that, okay? A couple of reasons. I only say this because, well, I guess fantasy strategy, sure, but I have him in another league. So, no, I'm not going to start Nico Collins when he's on IR. and I can still keep him on IR and have a slot open on my team, which I do, and then you hold somebody and then don't have to drop Ray Davis because, Chris Olave is going to play, and then you have to drop Chris Boswell, and then you do play Chris Olave, but then he goes out and it has a concussion, and so now it was completely pointless, and so this is the thing you run into. So I'm a nice guy, and I will take the time to let you know in the chat that I would put Nico Collins back on IR, because what have you read until he practices? What in crikey hell gives you any forethought that he is going to play? So bold move. I don't think you should do it. And then no defense. I get your current defense, which why you're holding on to the Browns, why you're holding on to two defenses is beyond me. You're better than that. So, whatever. Anyway, you do you, Mr. Grog. Young Hoku, the kicker, it's 96. Projection is going to go up a little bit, so it'll be right under 100, right at 100. Whew, but, dude, the man scored 130 points last week, and, even that was without T. Higgins, and unfortunately, I don't think watch it, dude. I have no luck. So look at me. I'm a Nico Collins owner. I mean, what are the chances of the man playing? So, yes, it's going to be a factor if he does or doesn't, but I'm going with the fact that he's not going to play because, again, we've heard and read nothing that they're going to start him. So going with the fact he won't and going with this projection, I actually think that somehow, and this is one of those that I really want to pick Aaron. At the end of the day, if Garrett Wilson scores the points and then Alvin Kamara, if Rachaad White just falls into the end zone, I mean, that's enough to beat you, I think, right there. But he still lost 3 in a row, even though last week, take that one into, consideration. It was a super high point loss by only 4 points. There are some things we'll talk about when it comes to power rankings that do reflect my choice here, and dare I say it, but I should have picked Josh. I will remedy that mistake here, and I will pick Jack Little Raven to maybe give Josh some hope against Forrest as well, but give me Jack Little Raven here in Week 10 to keep his playoff hopes alive and give Co-Commissioner Grog a 4th loss in a row. I am so excited to talk about this Game 5 matchup between Brock Hudgens, who is on a 3-game win streak, taking on Jordan Payne, who just came off of a loss. One of the teams tied for that 6th seed at 4-5. So Jordan needing a big win here. One of the teams also getting healthy. Not just Josh, but all these owners who took early season injuries potentially getting healthy. I guess we should have thrown Aaron Grog if I'm done talking about Nico Collins. If he plays, Aaron Grog throws into that category as well. I guess no matter what, he's in that category because maybe he comes back next week if he doesn't come back this week. Anyway, I digress. Jordan looking more healthy, more dangerous, but Brock looking dangerous. We just talked about Aaron Grog's 4-point loss of 130 points, and here's the man who beat him 137 to 134, 133. I know there's a decimal in there, but who cares? The point is, you are alive. The man was facing certain 7 losses in the face, and like I said, I've seen it. You keep fighting. Forrest, Josh, everybody's still playing. Everybody's still contending. I love it. And the playoff 6 seed, minimum 6 seed is still open. And so let's break this down. Brock, can you do it? Can you make it 4? Huge to be at 4-6, because someone who's 4-5 is going to lose this week. Someone who's 4-5, and I bet you it's more than just one person. So you get a win this week, you immediately get up to a 4-6 team from being at the bottom. Unreal. Jordan, you could be this. We talk about getting our elbow room. We talk about player positioning. This is a prime example of that. I kind of missed it with the Felch and Chandler, but listen up, because this is just where you guys are at too, and that is Brock wins this game. He goes to 4-6. That outdoes Chandler, who would fall to 4-6, and guess who's got the tiebreaker and jumps over Jordan, just like that. Let's break it down, everybody. Man, do you love Fantasy League of Ordinary Gentlemen, or what? Do I have to say the whole league name? Can I just say Fantasy Gents? Yeah, I could, but I didn't. So let's go. Sam Darnold getting Jacksonville 18 points. It seems right. Devon A-Chain and Rico Dowdle. A-Chain has been on fire, and I think, you know what, whether you like it or not, by hook or crook, good or bad or ugly, no CeeDee Lamb, and I think that there's a much higher chance that CeeDee Lamb is going to play than Dak Prescott, but the possibility is there. So no CeeDee Lamb, no Dak Prescott. It could be a big-time Rico Dowdle game against Philadelphia, and goes back. Philadelphia does allow a very high percentage of touchdowns once you're in the red zone, over 60%. So Rico Dowdle could very well have a big game, and he could even fall into the end zone. The one thing you're going to watch Zeke's fat ass fall into the end zone and vulture here. I hope that doesn't happen. Tyreek Hill, Keenan Allen, mother huffers. Surely, Brock. He didn't help you last time. Okay, maybe your game came down to 4 points. So I could sneeze, 4 points, and that helps you. This is a game you have to win. There is nothing on your bench you feel more comfortable with running than Keenan Allen. I mean, if we're talking about 10 points, you might as well start an 8-point boomer bust player. I mean, against New England, I get their New England as a whole is bad, but their defense isn't horrible, man. I have just no faith, and I get the matchup again, going back to DJ Moore too. But guys, can you bet on that as we're about to start the playoff push? So, I mean, please think about the fact, and that you're going up, look at the person he's lined up against. I mean, what did I say last week? Start Josh Downs, you win your week. For the most part, that's what happened across other leagues. So, Trey McBride, great against the Jets. I think this is a great play. Jawan Jennings, no Brennan Ayuk. If there's anyone you think who's going to fill that role, and he's looked better. He's looked better than Brandon Ayuk in the Brandon Ayuk role. So I love the flex play. God, I hate that. I hate Keenan Allen. You're on this Cinderella run, Brock, and part of me, the commissioner in me, doesn't want to see it end. The Joe in me feels great. Yeah, Final Boss loves Keenan Allen on your team and starting, and I'm sure the Jordan loves him too. Philadelphia, the defense, ooh, dang, don't like that. Never like when your players play against each other. It's inevitable to happen, though. Bates, the kicker, it is a 3-point swing, not in your favor because you're starting Keenan Allen. Jordan doesn't need you to win. He needs to knock you down to 7. The one thing is, you can take the loss. I'll say that much, Brock. Jordan needs to get back to 500, sir. Need to keep in that fight for the 6th seed. You're really hoping that co-commissioner Aaron Grogg goes down this week, that Jack does maintain a win this week, and that would push you right up into the contention for that 6th seed, really, being yours. So let's go ahead and see if Josh Allen can score into the 20s against Indianapolis. I think it's very, very possible. Roschon Johnson, man, Ray Davis, Roschon Johnson, the bye weeks are hurting. But we've seen that broke knees Chuba Hubbard is not the answer. I love Tyrone Tracy against Carolina. And what a matchup. For once, look at Brock with that. You have a better running back core than somebody here, I think, Brock. A.J. Brown, who is not good news. That knee injury wasn't as serious as people may have thought. We all thought it was. But Dallas, Josh Downs, yeah, love it. Buffalo, Dallas, okay. Dalton Kincaid will be, man, really, really hoping that the stack works out in this game. Probably going to score more points than Mark Andrews, am I right? Cooper Kupp, what a flex. What a flex. I mean, and, with Josh Downs, with Joe Flacco, again, bad week for Flacco last week. Forget it. I think that he's going to have a good end of this year. And so, yeah, this makes you one of the more dangerous wide receiving core. Certainly, I think makes you have a better wide receiver core than Brock here. Detroit, the defense, and Boswell. I almost forgot about this, but of course, we'll cover the teams, and I comes flooding back. I knew, I didn't want to say it in yesterday's episode, but I knew. I was like, he dropped him because he had to, and that's what you do with kickers, and I picked him up. And sure as stink on poop, I just knew that you were going to pick him up. And I get that we have to prioritize the people we pick up, but it's like, I just knew it in my bones it would be you, Jordan, to get him back. And sure enough, that's what happened. It's just so frustrating. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And watch him win you. Watch Brock, that now he picked up Chris Boswell, game-winning, saving, season grace-loving, fantasy kicker Chris Boswell win the game. I do have to make a choice in this one, and it is hard, dude. I think when we look at the power rankings at the end of this episode, you are going to see how tough the matchups are going to be this week when it comes to just scoring alone and who you're playing, and that is definitely the case in this game. But I'm not. And this is kind of like what I was feeding in to Forrest, and something tells me the vibration, the shit winds are blowing, and I'm not gonna go against it. Give me Brock Hudgens to keep this run alive and get to 4-6, knock Jordan down to 4-6, and jump right to the middle of the pack. Let's see it here in Week 10. Game 6 will feature Derrick Ash taking on yours truly, the commissioner, Joe Johnson, and this is the next two games feature, all owners who are currently in position to go to the playoffs. This matchup, if it were to end, this could be a replay of what is going to be a round one matchup. And we know how those round one matchups go, do we not, Derek? And so we have had some very epic games over the past, and I thoroughly enjoy playing Derek. I enjoy playing Derek as much as I enjoy playing Jordan and Grog and the rest of you fuckers, okay? But Derek always offers a very unique challenge, fresh off of a win last week. 6-3, sitting right above me, 5-4. And what did I say? The people you're playing, so important right now. And I needed a win. Right now, I should be 6-3. You should be 6-3, and we should be 1 win, 2 wins away from guaranteeing ourselves a place in the playoffs. And this week should almost be if one of us loses, whatever. But what does have you're in that position. I lose to Forever and Clean, so I really need this win. What would happen is that's going to bring me up to 6-4. That's going to drop you to 6-4. And much like Brock jumping Jordan, I would jump into that 4 seed. Now that would still set us up for a 5-4 matchup, unless seeing what else happens this week. But huge week, and you're getting me banged up. Now, obviously, I'm not going to start Dak Prescott this week, but he was my, backup and bye week cover, so longevity loss there. More importantly, Chris Olave, I'm definitely going to go without him this week, given that is his second or fourth concussion this year, second in whatever. I mean, dude, or the fourth concussion overall, second concussion within 3 weeks. Who knows? Who knows, man? And when is seeking a specialist ever a good thing? So I'm probably going to lose him for about a week minimum. But Brian Thomas banged up. James Conner a little banged up, even though I think he'll play. Nothing more I'm too worried about there. But it's a rough rough week. I see, and talk about people getting healthy. Here comes Brian Robinson. You know, nonsense. Not this whole year. I'm not trying to turn our matchup into a gripe session about my team. It's just, when's it going to stop? When are these injuries going to stop? When is the nonsense going to stop? Can we just have some football and get through the day and have some consistency? And, of course, the person I have to play is Mr. Consistency, Derrick Ash. Okay, let's break down the matchup. Enough rants. Justin Hurt, who, of course, man's been having quarterback woes all week and goes and picks up somebody who hasn't been able to get together, but is much like the Broncos. And the Chargers are figuring themselves out. Justin Herbert on fire, and he gets Tennessee. Derrick Henry, who is just been phenomenal, has scored a touchdown in every single game he's played in, and that's just the minimum of one. I mean, I can't remember who it was, but said, I think it was Daniel. I think that's who it was. Daniel Dopp on Fantasy Focus said the dude's going to score, 20 touchdowns. Well, sure as hell looks like it. Bucky Irving, and I can't believe they have a projection of 11, but, if he falls in the end zone, maybe they think he's going to vulture something here in San Francisco. I still don't think he's taking that job over. From why, if he would have done, it would have happened well before now. Amon St. Brown and Malik Neighbors. Now, this is what I don't like. Amon St. Brown's going to have a great day, Houston or not. And then Malik Neighbors gets Carolina. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Turd Ferguson, it's a funny hat, gets Philadelphia. Yeah, no CeeDee Lamb. No Dak Prescott. So what do backup quarterbacks do? Check down to their tight ends. Oh, boy, just what Derek needed going into the matchup with Joe. Go figure. It's not. I half expected it, even though I said it earlier. Still going into this podcast, before we even got to the game, I thought I would have to deal with another tight end here. Glad to see that's not the case. Brian Robinson, who gets Pittsburgh, so tapering expected. Would they have Brian Robinson with 14? But that's ridiculous. I think that's ludicrous, especially against Pittsburgh. No way. The Chargers defense, which is fantastic, and gets Tennessee. Woof, I'm starting them in another league. And McLaughlin, the kicker, it's 121. Oh, dude, it's just a fight. I knew, dude, losing to Evan last week, and then the schedule I have for the rest of the year is a bitch and a half. My schedule's unbelievably tough, and now I'm banged up really bad, and I still have to play Jonathan a second freaking time before the year's over. My God. Not one game at a time. Focus on the journey, not the results. So here we go. Week 10, Kyler Murray come after not a great week last week, gets the Jets, and I'm going with the fact Kyler's been on fire. Last week they didn't need him. They didn't need Marvin Harrison Jr., so it's going to be a tough matchup. Great coverage here with the Jets defense on Marvin Harrison. So I'm still going with the stack. I don't really have a choice at this point in time, as again, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm not going to get Chris Olave in this game. So we're rolling them out, and we're gonna see what happens, boys and girls. And if what happens last week happens this week, I am well and truly boned. Jonathan Taylor and Chase Brown. And no Zach Moss, unfortunately, of course, Brennan gets Khalil Herbert. When, it's like you have Zach Moss, and they stopped using him, and no one else has come in. So why would you pick up Khalil Herbert other than, stealing my handcuff? Maybe that's there. He's not going, he said, oh, man, I want to go through an episode now and not say it. I don't, you know. Mark Andrews, oh boy. And my hope here is maybe Isaiah Likely's not going to play. I believe that came out earlier that they've already considered him out for the Thursday night game. So maybe with no Isaiah Likely and the amount of time he's still at least playing, that Mark Andrews scores more than 4 friggin' points. But still, 5 targets, the most targets he's ever received. 2 targets last week, guys. So I picked up Goddard, and I was going to start him, but if Isaiah Likely isn't going to play, I've got to go with that, right? And Cincinnati's defense isn't someone you're afraid of, so I'm banged up, I'm hurt, I've got to do something. So Mark Andrews, here we go, YOLO, here we go. James Conner, who's going to have a great day, number 1 in yards after contact, and it's not even close. So let's, this is a rough matchup, man. Three players playing the Jets. I feel like, did it again. Woo! I need a counter in my next episode just to, that'll be fun going through and we'll see how many times I say it in an episode. I guarantee you I'll count it. So who has all the Denver players? Jonathan, right? Yeah, Jonathan's got all the Kansas City players playing against Denver this week. So yeah, in the same book against a tough defense myself. I can only hope I can get that, somehow score, into the 120s again, because that's what happened after I scored 70 the last time. So I think that's when I scored the 143 that beat Austin. So we'll see. Kansas City's defense, I'm playing against my boys. That's when you know you're a true fantasy player, when you start one of your rivals' defenses against your favorite team. There you go. Jake Moody. This is the only redeeming thing when it comes to my week this week, is that if I have to lose Chris Boswell, I had Jake Moody, who was right behind Brandon Aubrey, who's fallen off a little bit from that number 1 kicker position. But Jake Moody was there. He's coming back. He was fantastic, and I'm just hoping he hasn't, the mentality or whatever. I just, I needed to pick him up right where he left off. YOLO. That is what this week is. I have to win. It is a must-win week with the games I have left. If I lose here, my season gets much, much tougher, and then God knows what my long-term injuries are going to look like. So, Derrick, you already know you're playing Final Boss. And it doesn't matter, Derrick, if it's the playoffs, if it's the regular season. You start the 2 tight ends. Travis Kelce can score 40 points. He can, I can't believe that you can pick up quarterbacks that are, coming on after you've tried the Indianapolis train that hasn't worked out. And, here comes Malik. It doesn't matter. Okay, because when you play Final Boss, you go from consistent to inconsistent. We've seen it all year. I've stifled you in and out of every season. It's going to continue here in week 10. Get the fuck off my lawn and let's move on. With 1 game left to go, it's now time for Game of the Week. And once more, our Game of the Week will feature a familiar face as number 1 undefeated 9-0 0 to hero Brennan Scala will take on Austin Allen, who's coming off of 2 losses in a row. And it's not that he's ailing, not that it really is injuries. It simply is that he has been outscored 139 points, 130, and still lost. Top tier opponents. We got to give him that. Those 2 losses come from people who are currently scheduled to be in a playoff. So if you're going to lose, you want to lose to people who are top tier opponents. I mean, let's face that. This game is within 1.8 points. It's easily one of the closest games. And like I said, it features the number 1 team, the number 3 team. You just lost your number 2 seed. This is super important. Right back into who is right next to you in this position. If Brennan loses here, that's really good for everyone in the playoff bracket. It brings it that much closer. Of course, it does the league a favor and makes sure that no one goes undefeated, which it's a record that has to be broken, and I don't ever want it broken. I don't need anybody going undefeated unless it's yours truly. So Austin, I know, needs to get out of this slump and, get his points and score and win and feel good about it. But we talk about, dude, everybody's schedule. When is any week not a tough week in the fantasy league of ordinary gentlemen? It's just that, you start the season, it doesn't really matter. 0-0, you can take losses. Well, now we're at a point where you can't take losses. Now we're at a point that we want to secure those wins. And now we're at a point where we're playing people who are right next to us. And it's so much more on the line. And Austin, watch you score 130 points again. And Brennan still outscores you. But can you be the man to bring him down here in week 10? Let's talk about it. Lamar Jackson, Cincinnati, Thursday night. And why not? Lamar scores more than 20 points. He's been on fire. He's right there with Jaden Daniels in one of the top scoring quarterbacks. And again, we talked about Cincinnati, not a defense we're worried about. Yeah, dude, this is going to be, I feel this 23 points for sure. James Cook, Ramondre Stevenson, you love the volume. Chicago's run defense, okay, better than the secondary, but not too worried. Really what they do is they stop quarterbacks. That's what they're really good at doing. James Cook, Indianapolis, okay, this could be a great day. Great setup. I mean, I will say, you have the better running back core in this game. CeeDee Lamb, unknown. We'll see if he plays. Drake London, this is where it sucks, man. We talk about injuries, and Austin, you might get lucky here. Drake London's going to play. I have him in another league, so I've been following him a little bit more than I have CeeDee Lamb, and all reports say that this is not a bad, it's just, little hip pain, and he's going to be. I would imagine Drake London 100% going to play. CeeDee Lamb, on the other hand, still up in the air. Still waiting to know more about his injury. But then with no Dak Prescott, man, this projection against Philadelphia is going to go down. I mean, this is a downgrade. This sucks. If you have Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb or any of them. I mean, I think the only person, it's Rico Dowdle and Turd Ferguson, it's funny hat, are the beneficiaries here with Dak's absence. Dalton Schultz, who I have dropped, but hey, what do we talk about in fantasy? One man's trash is another man's treasure. But even with, dude, I can tell you right now, even without Nico Collins playing, it has been very, very bad. They're just not looking for Dalton Schultz. And C.J. Stroud has been absolutely abhorrent without Nico Collins. It's the Joe Mixon show. And yeah, I mean, he'll score more points than Mark Andrews. Am I right? Okay. San Francisco's defense, Brandon Aubrey, the kicker, 127. So they're thinking you're going to score high here. I'm thinking you're going to score a little lower. CeeDee Lamb, that's the thing here. What is CeeDee Lamb going to look like either if he plays and without Dak Prescott? That's what we got to think about here. Your opponent has been scoring. He's loved the production. He has not liked the outcome. Can he reverse those fortunes this week, assuming things go his way? Jaden Daniels, first things first, I have zero idea why they're giving him a 23-point production or a projection against Pittsburgh. I get that's what he's averaging, not against Pittsburgh, and that has to come from what happened in that. I don't even remember who it was they were playing now. I'm too tired. It's too early in the morning, and I'm about to pass out as soon as I finish this. So, yeah, I there's no way that just that Hail Mary at the end of that game, can boost your projection this much. I mean, Pittsburgh is really good, and it is a home game for Washington. I'll give them that. They're playing really good football, but Pittsburgh is really catching on, and their defense is fantastic. No way, maybe 19. But no way he crosses the 20 barrier here. But all you need is 19. Let's be honest. You need 18 points from a quarterback. You need your 15 to 18 points, and you should win your game as long as everybody else does their job. Jahmyr Gibbs, Javonte Williams. You love Gibbs, should be fine. You don't really, especially against Kansas City, hate to say it, don't like Javonte Williams in this game. He definitely, hasn't been anything more than since the trade, and he scored the 26 points that 1 week. It's not been anything that I'm personally even excited about, and I have him in another league because I was all in on Javonte Williams this year, and I bought into him in every single league, and now he rides my bench because, whatever. But I get it. It's a heavy bye week. You got to start who you got to start. Devonta Smith, a little banged up. You're monitoring that. Still going to play. Great matchup with Dallas, dude. This is why I want to start. Maybe I should start Dallas Goedert. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. It's a short week. Maybe I need to start Dallas Goedert, but it's like, dude, with AJ Smith, he's fine. Devonta Smith, no Isaiah Likely, dude. Oh man, Mark Andrews is such a pain in my ass, bro. Whatever. Not talking about him. We're talking about Devonta Smith, who has had a great, 15-point day minimum. I think this projection is a little low. So, hey, whether it's Jaden Daniels coming down a little bit or Devonta Smith coming up a little bit, hey, there you go. Darnell Mooney, who has at the beginning of the season been passed around like a 10-cent whore and would be on my team, and what a hole he would be filling right now, hey-oh, if I hadn't fallen back to sleep for 15 minutes, and then Jordan Payne, get him and trade him, and but here he is on a team that's scoring 130 points against New Orleans. It's going to happen again. He's going to have another 20-point day. 15 points, bull crap. Dude, Darnell Mooney, and let's just say this, if Drake London doesn't play, huge thing for you, Brennan, and guess who has the number one wide receiver now in a game that's really, really good for Kirk Cousins? So, very wary. Could be the difference in this game. Let's be honest. Let's look at that. The fact that Drake London could be a huge difference maker depending on who gets the points in this game. More points if that's, and dude, Drake London's going to play. So, who's going to get the most points in this game could determine the outcome. But hey, Brennan, just remember that George Kittle is going to score 24 friggin' points, and then it'll just be over for you, unless you manage to somehow pull off a kick, a miracle with your kicker that you had to drop because one of your wide receivers had to come back and you needed to start him, but then he gets injured again and is going to now go back onto your IR, Oh man, I digress. PTSD. But George Kittle, dangerous here, and but it's not even close, flex play in favor of Austin in this game. Saquon Barkley, look at and that's the thing that people got to understand. You don't slot your players. If you're still slotting your players based off of talent, you're a fool. You slot them based off of the time that they play. And 30 points, it feels like every time against Dallas, it is coming. I do not envy you. Brennan, brother, this game is going to be way closer than you like. Austin, I think you want this game to be close, which means that you're competing because, Brennan is just on a tear, and this game is going to be close. And there's a part of me, there's a real part of me, especially having the loss to Evan last week. I'd almost rather you keep winning, Brennan, and then Austin lose, because then him going 6-3 means that I have the tiebreaker on Austin, and if I beat Derrick this week, then I have the tiebreaker on Derrick. I jump up to the number 3 seed if I win, and both of them lose, and then all of a sudden I'm in a 6-3 matchup, which is 10 times better. And it means that if things go my way, which they probably won't because of the injuries and a bunch of bullshit and the universe hating who I am, I maybe could somehow find a way into the top 2. But now I'm just getting into wishful thinking. Let's pick a winner for this game. Which, after watching the final episode, I guess I forgot to pick a winner in last week's episode. So, gentlemen, I apologize. Not gonna make the mistake this week. Oh, it is going to be so close. The running back core is definitely better when we look at Brennan's team. The quarterback play is going to be super close. The matchup with Brennan is better. If we look at just the wide receiving core and we assume that everything starts, the wide receiving core is technically better. Tight end, not even close, favor of Austin, and then the flex play, not even close. You know, defenses, kickers could go either way, but I have no reason until proven otherwise to choose anything but 0 to hero Brennan Scala to win 10 games in a row. Austin, for the love of God, prove me wrong and bring him down like Theoden and the Rohirrim taking on the Elephants. Bring it down for the good of the league and common fantasy players in the world. Make it stop. Make his reign of terror stop, even if it means you hold on to this number 3 seed. The implications are there for you. If you can win this game, you get the tiebreaker. You definitely have a good chance of taking into the 1 or 2 seed. If somehow Jonathan loses to Evan, if Evan can pull off this win, that would give you the jump on him, at least on record, until he were to tie yours. And then, of course, the head-to-head would then go back to him. But at least now you would jump him if that were to happen. So a possible scenario, if you win and Jonathan loses, but we've made my decision. So, gentlemen, I shall not. This is a long episode because we got a lot going on. Thank you for being with me. If you didn't do it earlier, take a moment, like and subscribe. We appreciate it. Everybody, unless your name is Derrick Ash, have a great week. Derrick, fuck you. Get the hell off my lawn. Everybody, have a great week 10. Peace out.